All right. Overall, absolutely a very disappointing, tough day for our offense. The tape showed a lot of those things to be what we felt, but it also showed some missed opportunities early on in the game that might have, whether it's a 3rd and 2 conversion to keep an early drive moving, or a potential explosive here and there, or just sustaining a little bit more. Our run game was just not a positive part of our early offense. We got a lot of our yards late running the football, and it's got to be a little bit more consistent. I thought our defense battled. They were really outstanding for a lot of the day against a good group, and they were put in some tough situations, and specialists showed up again from a standpoint of Ryan Wright, flipping the field and doing some things there, and we've just got to try to find a way, regardless of the different guys stepping in at different positions. There's a standard that we have not met offensively, and it's on all of us, but it starts, and big part of it is me getting the best out of this group, and we've got to do that, and we've got to make sure we're not only for the present and to do what we need to do to win a football game, but it's part of what's made us have success around here, and we're not doing that right now. We're not having success. It is clear that we all can be better. But like I said, I'm going to personally look at myself and how I can continue to find a way to coach the details of the plays that are called, and what type of plays we're going to call, and how many plays we're going to take into games, and if we've got to limit our inventory and just demand execution, we'll do it even more than we already have, which has been a part of the process over these last few weeks. As you guys have seen, we waived Adam Thielen. I know Kwesi addressed the kind of the background on that and what was behind the move, so I won't add much to that, but what I will say is just how much I appreciate Adam, what he means to me, the organization, me personally. I think Adam Thielen is a special person and a special player that has meant a lot to not only this organization but the career he's had, and I just wish him nothing but the best over these final few weeks of the year, and it sounds like that might be the final few weeks of his career, and we wanted to make sure that after some dialogue and things that we accommodated that. Just injury-wise, we did get some good news today on Ryan Kelly had the hip flexor. He seems like he's going to be day-to-day, but with a real chance to be able to go this week. Aaron Jones re-aggravated kind of the shoulder he's been dealing with. Doesn't seem to have made it any worse for the wear, but he'll be day-to-day. And then Blake Brandell did report some discomfort post-game with his head. And he did show up so he did go into the protocol, but I will add he did show up today symptom-free. So we'll see how he progresses throughout the week. You guys know how serious we take that, and we'll defer to the medical staff on that. And outside of that, Christian Darrisaw, as of right now, the plan is for him to have his normal kind of practice routine and hopefully lead into him playing on Sunday. And then Donovan's improving by the day, and he'll be considered day-to-day this week.
And with Adam, had he voiced any concern or frustration to you about his playing time?
No, it was more so, Adam's such a good guy. It was more so just the dialogue of we were trying to, knowing we had pretty remarkable health in that receiver room this year. We were trying to find ways to get him tagged in there on some plays here and there, and just we haven't had a lot of plays as of late. That's been a big issue. Those 10 or 11 or so on average, less plays we're running this year as opposed to kind of our previous 3 years has been a major part of it. But Adam also acknowledged, look, Speedy's playing great, and Jordan and Jets are Jordan and Jets. So he kind of there was zero. Adam and I talk a lot. There was zero negativity to the conversations. It was more so the competitor in him, and he wants to finish this thing off the right way, and just figured between him and his representation that they, the conversations were had with Kwesi and his staff, and this was the outcome that kind of came out of it. But there was none of that. And in fact, him and I were texting back and forth earlier. But he's one of those players that will always kind of hold a spot in my heart, and getting to be a part of that first team and such an impactful player to our organization. I care so much about all of our current players for sure, but our former players too. That's one of the best parts of this job. But if you look back on it, and I think it's important to do that sometimes with things like this, when we acquired Adam, Justin had missed most of training camp with his hamstring. Speedy was dealing with an injury where we did not know if we would have him for the first 2 weeks of the season, and everybody knows we were going to be without Jordan for the first 3 weeks. And then beyond that, it was a matter of, we felt like we had 4 capable starters and 2 young guys we really like a lot in Ty and Miles, who were going to be heavily involved in the kicking game. So the point is, we've had that room, and credit to those guys, whether it's Justin and Jordan, with their ability to be every week contributors, and the work they put in off the field to keep themselves fresh and healthy. And then Speedy has been a product of 4 years in our system and building up to be a guy that we rely on heavily. And in a big year for him personally, he's doing a lot of really good things. So it's one of those things where there's really not a lot of negatives, that although this ends with a transaction like this, it really is something where the dialogue and the positivity of the relationships and things kind of winning out in the end to do what's best for the player.
At the time of the trade, what was the plan for him after Jordan? You knew Jordan would come back after 3 games. What was the plan for Adam when you made the trade, knowing that was just going to be a short trip?
That was a part of the dialogue at the time. That obviously it would be a major thing the first 3 weeks, and then if we haven't had a particular season where all 3 of or your 3 quote unquote starters, or in this case the 4 guys in Adam, Speedy, Justin, and JA, that they've been, once all available, they've been all available. So that was communicated, and part of the reason why throughout the season the dialogue between myself and Adam was what it was. And I think it got to the point where maybe, and I don't want to speak for him, but just the reflection of this possibly being the final sequence of weeks in possibly his career, and I don't know if that's an absolute or not, but I think he thought it was time to talk about it a little bit.
Kevin, when you talk about limiting inventory, how much of that is just to make it easier on the quarterback that you're putting in there?
Yeah, and that's really what we've done. But to me, it's more to get the level of execution even beyond the quarterback position. It's, getting great combinations in the run game. It's handling movement defensively in the run game, so that you don't end up with unblocked players, at the point of attack. Or in the pass game, it's maybe where there's a concerted effort to move Justin and the formations required for that. Where even if there's one play in a 10-play sequence, where if we don't align properly, whether it's a backside player split, whether it's on the inside edge or the outside edge, or in a normal split, or if it's where we want the location of a grouping of receivers, we just got to do a better job being a little bit more detailed, and that I do believe that will lead to a little bit more rhythm and timing to our pass game. And then we've got to continue to work through finding ways to still throw the football, where maybe we're using 2 of our eligibles to help with some of the things that have gone on up front, whether it's on the left side this week, or losing Ryan in game, or at different times throughout the season, where we've had a rotation in there. We have not, in a lot of our losses, we have not had the same group of linemen either that we anticipated, and or more importantly, that started the game, finished the game. And I don't think we've handled that well, and I don't think I think I've got to do a better job, finding different avenues to navigate some of those challenges where, maybe it's not just about, hey, we make the block on this player, we didn't handle this on this play. It's, are we doing everything but still finding ways to activate a guy like T.J. Hawkinson who, showed up yesterday, when he wasn't trying to help on the edges. We were trying to get him involved in the pass game, and that obviously helped, but that doesn't mean that we can have, a day for Justin like it was.
Kevin, it's kind of in the weeds, but on that 4th and 1, is Lawrence coming unblocked like something that is expected with a play like that?
No, it's one of those things. He's a little bit of a tighter technique right there. He made a good play to avoid kind of Oliver, helping secure that edge to at least give Max the run pass threat. I didn't, ultimately I didn't like the play call. It's totally on me in that moment. I think at that point we were right around 1 yard average maybe, and in that moment, we better have a schematically more sound play. And that's totally on me. It's not on Josh. It's not on Max. It's not on anybody. That one was on me, and it was a massive play in the game.
The play before, Kevin, was Jordan supposed to run at the sticks?
It was right about, I think it was a 3rd and 6 at the 9. If you look at it, they're doubling Justin in man coverage, and Jordan's got leverage on the route, chance to maybe, put your back foot in the ground and throw that without the hitch there, or Speedy, to the back pylon. Both those guys have leverage to win. Core concept, core staple thing we've done really since rookie minicamp year 1, and it just was a bang bang play down there. You run into those kind of 3rd downs where they're not goal to go. Down there in the low red zone sometimes, where you're kind of sometimes right on the line, whether it's a that route, in our playbook might say 4 to 6 yards based upon the release and whether you're in man coverage, zone coverage, those things. But we've seen that play many times be caught, in stride and get the final yard or 2 needed. But yeah, in that case, defender made a good play on it, and probably a quarter of a second, of ball placement out in front. You find a way to make that, or you progress. And Max, you look at that early 3rd and 2 where Lawrence gets the sack, and we got beat pretty quick there. But, that play was really there to be had, and what could that be? And then the Jordan Addison in cut on I believe on the next drive on 2nd and 9. Did that play, that was his previous pass, did that play speed him up to the point where the normal rhythm of that play, maybe that ball's caught just outside the near hash there, and we're throwing that ball a little bit early maybe, and it's kind of what it's been for us on offense. One play affects the next, and you look at it where, if you're telling me those plays, that coverage, those 2 plays, you're probably talking a 3rd down conversion on the first one, and probably an explosive with Jordan Addison running with a lot of grass out in front of him, and both of them end up being, in one case, a sack, and then in the other a 3rd and 9 on the next snap. So that's a microcosm, a little bit of our pass game right now, and just the plays that aren't made early in games that could potentially set the table and the course for the entire rest of the game.
When you talk about looking inward to find success for the offense, what exactly does that look like for you? As you try to figure out ways to.
Yeah, I think that there has been an element of in our efforts to commit to the run game, when you are efficiently running the ball, it becomes easier to stack those runs. But where maybe historically whether it was 22, 23, or 24, the explosiveness of our pass game and being a top 5 or 6 passing offense in the league was kind of always the standard, and we haven't been anywhere near our standard of doing things, and a lot of them are kind of little tiny examples that we just talked about with Darren, but some other ones are just me trying to understand maybe we're not going to be a statistically impressive team, but we do have to find a way when you're playing a really good football team in that kind of environment to get the game to where we need to get it to. And if you look at the last 2 weeks, 2 tough road games against teams that are playing really good football, we had first half 4th downs where, I'm trying to be aggressive, recognizing the need for 7 points. Specifically yesterday off of that turnover, great turnover forced by our defense. And, we end up with not only no points, but they end up with points off of it, where the last thing you're thinking on no matter my or which I've told you already, dislike of the play call, looking back on it, you're really not thinking that's going to end up. The movement keeper game, kind of those types of plays are normally relatively safe from a turnover risk-reward proposition, and it went back the other way. So regardless, it's a catastrophic play in the game. But I think overall, it's just kind of figuring out exactly what we need to be. Where we've tried to do that, and then in moments where maybe you're trying to get Justin going or covered, the biggest thing is what you're seeing coverage-wise is just taking it needs to take a back seat to what is the best thing for our offense in that moment. If I'm in full transparency of that, things that I may see, chances to maybe get in cuts screaming, or high crosses running, or vertical chances that have kind of always gave us the lift in games where maybe the consistency wasn't always there. We found those plays. That's where I think it's just a continued understanding of exactly, we called a lot of screens yesterday, didn't have the success we thought we would have on all of them. We had a few decent chances with, called a lot of, kind of ball out plays as well, quick game kind of plays, and those are great from a completion standpoint. But if number one's not open, those plays can become kind of wasted opportunities as well. Or when we don't hit the backside in cut, for whatever reason that is, those become, just another chance to huddle up and play a 3rd and longer situation, which we had too many of yesterday.
On a personal level, how difficult has it been for you to kind of acknowledge that there's things that might, in theory, be gettable that maybe just can't be executed right now? And as someone who's come from an offensive background and took a lot of pride in this, I'm just curious how this has all hit you in the past couple of weeks. It's really something, Kevin, where I don't really think it hits you. My job as a coach is to acknowledge it and understand how to coach it better, and still try to strive to see the improvement and try to stay true to who or really what our offensive philosophy is, and has really helped us have a lot of success. And but at the same time, you don't really get mired down in the feelings of it as much as just what's the best path moving forward. And we've tried to, coming out of the last few games, we've tried to put together plans that did that. Whether it's making sure your play pass protections have an ability to get, to block the teeth of whatever pressure you might get, whether it's, double, corner cat, nickel coming, or it's a overload from one side or the other. And schematically, you're just trying to make sure you eliminate some of the negative variables if you're going to attempt some of those plays. And we're just, even when, all of those things go right, we're just not seeing the benefit of it on the backside of it right now. So it's becoming much more difficult than it has been at times for us to function for the course of 4 quarters, where the defense is going to make some plays here and there, especially the level of defense we've played the last 2 weeks. Those are 2 pretty good groups, and I think it's just a matter of adjusting to what is required to win, throughout the course of a season, but even in the midst of where we're at right now, which is not even remotely acceptable, still finding a way to press onward.
Kevin, when you're struggling this much, are there any unexpected challenges to playing at home? I never heard Pittsburgh booing the Steelers. They heard it yesterday. Is there any challenges that you have to prepare for?
No, I don't think you prepare for it. But look, I trust me. The standard we talk about of offensive football around here, our fans have seen, at least since I've been here, a certain way that no matter what, you kind of know
you should be seeing some things when you show up to watch the Vikings play. And so I understand when the frustration sets in. I understand how passionate our fans are and how much they love the Minnesota Vikings, and that is not lost on me in one moment. If anything, you feel a total, complete obligation to, our team first and foremost, everybody that put so much hard work in at this organization. But it's not lost on me how important our fans are to us and how much they mean to us from an energy standpoint and the support we do get. And you want to provide them with reasons to cheer and reasons to be excited about their team, and not always the easiest thing to do when you're kind of having to transform kind of what you are, in your current state as an offense, but also it's about winning football games, and that's what we need to continue to do and put everything we have into, winning a game on Sunday at home. And we've got 5 opportunities left, and I really look at it like opportunities to, take every moment we have, sun up to sundown, all day, every day, to see the fruits of the improvement show up so that we can play complementary with a defense that's, getting healthy and should be in a good place. We had I didn't want to, end today without talking about Dallas Turner and the game he had yesterday. Eric Wilson having another great game. We saw Jay Ward get out there and play his role, that he's found kind of as of late in our defense from a physicality standpoint, tackling, all those things. Like, there's a lot of bright spots, and we're just not doing enough that, offensively to allow some of those bright spots to help us win. And that's what we've got to try to continue to work towards. I know this. Everybody's going to be totally all in on whatever needs to get done, and we're going to continue to work to do that.
Real quick, where are you at with JJ?
McCarthy, he's symptom-free, and now the last phase, I believe, of the protocol is just he needs to just have a full practice day, and that should come on Wednesday. So like I told you guys, I think yesterday, expecting that, barring any unforeseen changes to where he's at today, and hopefully he can have I think just having that Wednesday will allow him to have a normal full week and likely be able to go in as our starter on Sunday.